as someone who has been into self-growth and self-development, constantly working on myself, reflecting on my inner life, fixing things about myself that I don't like, and always trying to become this better and bigger version of me. Now things have completely shifted. The only goal I have for this year, or actually the two goals I have for this year, is to get really, really good at knowing my true self, my authentic self, and then getting really, really good at staying true to myself. And the thing is, I wasn't even aware that I didn't know myself, like truly know myself. I think as someone who has been always working on myself, I've put so much pride into who I am and where I'm going, right? But I was just adding on to new stuff all of the time. I was learning about new things. I was doing new challenges, trying different perspectives and mindsets and all of that. So of course I thought that I know myself so well, because this is where I am, this is where I want to be, and these are all of the tools I will put in between to get there. But then something happened. Something happened when we entered the new year of 2026, which was that I was starting to realize I'm exhausted. First of all, I'm so exhausted. And looking at all of the inner and outer work I've put in on my own self-development journey for the past couple of years, where am I now compared to where I wanted to be when I started that journey? And I could see that, well, I am nowhere near my goal. I am nowhere near doing the things or achieving the things that I really thought all of this inner work would lead me to. So from there I started reflecting. What does that mean? Does that mean that I didn't put in enough work? Obviously no, because I have been working my arse off. Maybe it means that my goals are not really aligned with my true self. Maybe it means that I haven't, during those years, paused and rested to actually look at, is this still what I want? Do I want the things that I thought I wanted? Because the thing is, when you keep developing and expanding and growing yourself with new tools, new perspectives, new mindsets, when do you take the time to stop and pause and get to know who you have become by doing all of the work you've already done? Isn't the point of doing all this work that we want to change something, or we want to become clearer on something, right? But if we just keep working, keep changing, keep fixing, but then never checking in and see, now that I've done all of this work and all of these reflections, who am I and what do I want now? How do I feel now? We just get stuck in this hamster wheel of self-development. And at some point we just forget the whole reason why we went on that hamster wheel in the first place. We forgot what we wanted to get out of it. Or we forget to check in whether or not what we back then wanted to get out of it is still what we want, because we have changed, or we have gotten deeper or closer to the core, right? And I think for me, it's funny because I think about 1 year ago, I came on here and I said, I'm giving myself this 4-week challenge to grow into that new and true me. And the reason for me wanting to do that challenge was that it had become clear to me already a year ago that I feel like 2 different people at once. There's this old version of me who thinks it's really important to be recognized and respected for doing something proper. And then there's this other, truer part of me that just wants to spread light and joy and make people feel good. And wanting to do that in untraditional ways that this old version of me might not agree with. And so these 2 versions of me were just fighting and going back and forth and discussing. So I never really got anywhere. I just stood where I stood and I fought with myself. So I went on this challenge to shed my old traditional negative beliefs and thoughts that were holding me back from becoming the person I truly felt like being. The result, I did not get where I wanted to be. Of course, I couldn't in 4 weeks, but what I really gained from it was getting to know how much noise I was allowing in the background. All of the thoughts and beliefs and worries that was going on in my mind all of the time. That's what happens when you spend this time, because my starting point was, if I want to step into the new and true me, I first need to know the starting point of who I am now, the old me, and what kind of beliefs am I running on. I really got to know that. So even if I might have failed the challenge, I gained something really valuable and important in order to get there at some later point. And then in December last year, a lot of stuff just happened. It felt like things came crumbling down. I felt like I was being punked, if anyone remembers that show. I felt like this surely has to be a joke. Someone must be up there kind of holding the strings and running my life, because how can all of this stuff just come crumbling down all at once? But that's what it felt like. And so I was drained and exhausted and just looking at my life from the outside. Like, what have I been accepting into my life? Because these things that happened, they weren't just stuff that came out of the blue. It was stuff that had escalated and I think just finally showed themselves so clearly that I couldn't ignore them anymore. I couldn't ignore the stuff I had been allowing in my life. So it all came crashing down, just to make sure I really looked at it. And I did. And I decided, you know what? I just need to pause. I need to rest. And I need to get to know myself on a deeper level all over again. I need to start over. No goals, no self-growth challenges, no nothing. My goal was actually to do nothing this year. To just sit in whatever comes up and live my life and be present for it. I've never done that. To some of you, that might seem crazy, but I have this feeling that for most of you, you can recognize this. I'm not saying that I've never been sitting still and doing nothing or watching TV or these chill things. I've been doing a lot of them. But my mind has been constantly analyzing, reflecting, planning, looking through the past, thinking about the future, thinking about all of the things I should have been doing right now instead of watching TV. So also just taking breaks and doing nothing, that has not been a part of my identity. I have not been good at allowing myself to rest. And what happened after that was that I reconnected with my body. Meaning, only this year, after I decided to take some time to actually do nothing, the art of doing nothing, only then did I realize that I have not been connected to my body for years. I'm so mind-driven and thought-driven that my body has just been this vessel that my mind can operate through. So my body has just been there for whatever my mind has told it to do. My body listened to my mind and did what my mind asked of it, kind of. But never the other way around. My mind never asked my body, what do you need? What do you need? Never. Until this year, when I just did nothing. Because what happens when you do nothing is that your body finally gets the space it needs to be noticed, to come to the surface, and all of these emotions that my body had stored from everything I had been allowing into my life for years. It's like the mind knows how to distract from that, or make it into a challenge, or use positive thinking to make it feel better, right? But it doesn't take away the fact that I had been overstepping my own boundaries so many times in my life, probably because of being an empath. Probably because of me wanting to help and fix everybody. I'm a helper, I'm a fixer. Both for myself and for my surroundings. It's what I love doing. But back then I didn't know the best way of doing that. So my body was forced to stay in these different situations where it did not feel safe. My nervous system never got to feel safe because I was staying in situations where I should have left a long time before I did. But my mind kept saying, we have invested so much time and energy in this. And we really want for this to be a good experience for this other person too. We can help this person. Just stick around a little longer. Just deal with being uncomfortable and let me run the show, and we will fix this. That's what my mind told my body, and my body, like this most loyal dog, just accepted it. Time and time again, for years and years. But here's what I learned this year. Truly learned, not just theoretically, but practically, by feeling it in myself. The body will always remember what the mind forgets or the mind pushes through. The body remembers and it stores it. So it just keeps building up and adding on to all of the stress it's been through earlier and pushing it down and storing it somewhere in the body. The stress, the discomfort, the feeling unsafe, the fear, and all of the coping mechanisms it learns from that to keep you safe. So if you, like me, have been spending most of your life just pushing through with your mind and staying in uncomfortable situations, making yourself stay longer than you need to, longer than you should, and putting others' comfort or well-being or needs in front of your own over and over and over again. And you just keep working on yourself to better yourself, to handle these situations better, to be there for other people better, instead of seeing that, oh, maybe these are the surroundings that are not healthy for me, so maybe I should change my surroundings, maybe I should leave some of these situations. No. If you, instead of that, just keep finding ways to improve yourself and how you encounter these situations and how you deal with these situations, at some point, the shit will hit the fan. And I'm telling you, if I hadn't consciously decided to take a break from all of that work and just sit with whatever comes up in me, I would probably be hitting a brick wall sometime in the very close future, and I'm guessing that so will you if you can recognize this circle of inner work that might be distracting yourself from your body's needs, from your soul's needs. And let me tell you, I'm not saying it was easy to go through this now that I chose it on purpose instead of waiting for that brick wall. These past 4 months, probably, have been the hardest, most uncomfortable months I can remember from my life. And that says a lot because I have been doing nothing for these 4 past months, but I have been doing a lot of uncomfortable stuff in my life. But sitting with yourself, getting to know yourself and watching what is going on inside when you stop distracting that inside with new challenges, new work, new fixings, new reflections, new coping mechanisms. when you stop distracting yourself from your true inner life with all of that, stuff gets uncomfortable. The first month or two was actually quite nice because I was just resting, and I felt the urge many, many times to do something, to journal, to do a challenge, to learn something about myself. But the thing is, I was learning so much about myself by doing nothing, but my mind wasn't used to thinking that way, you know? So in the beginning, I was like, oh, this is what resting feels like. And I had given myself this rule that no, you will not do any work. Of course, the work that I need to show up for and stuff that I need to do, that was still a part of my life. But like the inner work, the working on myself, I had put down a very firm rule: no working on yourself. And that was really helpful, because if I had a choice, I would always go back to that. Drinking my coffee, journaling, reflecting, asking questions, and just getting lost in all of that. But now that I couldn't, I learned how to rest without feeling bad about it, because I knew there was no other thing I could use that time for, because I wasn't allowed. And then, after a while, your body finally starts trusting that it is safe to relax. After not relaxing for years, your body needs some time and consistent effort of you resting to see that, oh, it is safe to relax. I am allowed to relax and rest and integrate. And that's what I'll do now. When the body gets to that point, something interesting, very important, and very uncomfortable happens. Your body starts showing you then all of the emotions and hurts and pain it has been storing that you never allowed it to show you or to deal with when it actually happened in the past. And I never used to think that that would apply to me. I have heard that and known that intellectually, you know, but I've been thinking, I don't have PTSD. I didn't have a very traumatic childhood, not at all. All of my dramas and challenges is something I've encountered as an adult or a young adult, and I chose it myself. So this can't apply to me, kind of. Nothing was done to me as a child, so this is not my thing. But it was. Just refusing yourself to rest and integrate is enough resistance that your body needs to store, because resistance blocks the flow of life, any kind of resistance. And I think this is what I really want to share with you guys. This is what I really learned and gained from this that I didn't know before, is that you don't have to have these major traumas for your nervous system to be stuck in survival mode or to be stuck in fight or flight mode. You can be looking fine on the outside, Like your life is together. You are making things work. You are smart. You are intelligent. You are reflected. You are working on yourself. You are getting to know yourself. But if you spend most of your life fixing things with your mind, thinking, I am strong, I don't need all of these emotions, I'm not this person who cries for stuff or who needs a lot of stuff to feel safe, I'm this person who just goes for it. Probably these kind of people who I belong to might have an even shakier nervous system because we have never allowed ourselves to truly feel our emotions, to truly stay with our emotions, because we have acquired this positive mindset, positive thinking, how to turn challenges into a growth, how to shed light on everything to come out of it in the most positive way. In itself, that's a good thing. But if we keep doing that with everything, if we never just allow emotions to be processed through the entire system of body, mind, and spirit, it will get stuck in the part of us that doesn't get to process it. So if we only process stuff with our mind, but not our bodies, it will get stuck in the body. That is my experience, and I never thought I had so much suffering in my body because I haven't felt it as suffering until I stopped working on myself. Does that mean that if I kept working on myself, I wouldn't feel this suffering? No. I would feel this suffering tenfold when I would hit that brick wall. Now, I have allowed my entire system of body, mind, and spirit to process this in a safe space where I have opened for it by choice. And I have allowed myself time for it by not tending to all of these other things, by actually clearing my schedule in the best way that I could and giving myself this year to just get to know myself, every part of myself, and also sit with whatever comes up. And it has been like being put in the front row seat on a cinema, and the movie being shown is your entire freaking life, with all of the background noise, all of the thoughts, beliefs, fears, worries that keep replaying in your system, but it has been there for such a long time that you don't even notice it anymore. It's like if you live in the city and there's a lot of traffic outside, you don't even notice it at some point because you get so used to it. But if you then were to move to the countryside where everything is quiet, you would know the difference. You would notice the contrast. And that's what happens. At least that's what happened to me. Once I stopped using my mind to work through everything, to fix everything, or to do new challenges, to learn something new, to become better, once I stopped that traffic and I moved into the countryside of doing nothing, oh, how I got to know the contrast. Oh, how I got to see clearly how much noise that I have failed to notice being a part of me because it's been there for such a long time. And once you finally get to notice, that hurts. It hurts in so many levels because it hurts by just recognizing what you have been putting yourself through for such a long time, not even being aware of it. And it hurts getting to truly hear that traffic, that noise, getting to actually hear the sentences, the beliefs, the fears that keeps replaying in the background, but you just keep navigating through them and trying to become a better version to handle them, instead of just looking directly at them and seeing that I don't want to allow this in my life anymore. So for me to sum up what I have learned in these months of 2026 of me doing nothing but resting, but integrating the work I've already done by getting to know my thoughts without jumping onto them, just listening to them. And most importantly, by noticing how my body feels about that. I have learned I am not who I thought I was. I am not at all who I thought I was. I don't want a lot of the things that I thought I wanted. I am not at all as brave and authentic as I believed I was. Now, I'm not mad at myself for that, because I have been doing the best that I could with the resources that I had available, which was my mind. And my mind, I love my mind too. My mind is so smart and intellectual and solution-oriented that it has made so many things work for me, and I'm so grateful for that. But my mind was the only resource that I made available for myself. I never made my body an available resource. Now I know what my body feels like. Now I have learned the hard way what kind of happenings and emotions and feelings and fears that has gotten stuck in my body because it never got to process it. I have felt my body telling me I am not okay. I am not okay because I have been listening to all of the background noise you have been running or allowing to run in the back of your mind that you haven't consciously listened to because you have been distracting yourself with all of this other noise you have put on top of it. But I am your body, and I take your thoughts as direct instructions for me on what to do and how to feel. So all of your negative beliefs and thoughts and fears that you have accumulated throughout your life from everything that you have experienced, I listen to that every day. And I close myself off from that. And I feel all of the stress. You have put me through so much stress by constantly adding more self-growth, new thoughts, new mantras, new beliefs, new mindsets. And I know you believe that was a good thing, and a lot of it was, but you forgot about me. You forgot about me, your body. I am the one who's living out all of these thoughts. I am the one carrying you through life, taking these thoughts as direct instructions on how to feel. Every time you have a negative belief, a negative thought, or a worry or a fear, I have to release these corresponding chemicals into the bloodstream of my body, because that is how we're connected. And you could also listen to me and ask me what I need so that we can work together to provide the best possible environment for the spirit that lives in us to become whole as body, mind, and spirit. But you have failed to do that. You forgot about me. And this is how you have made me feel. That's what my body has been showing me this year, once I allowed it. I have been paralyzed with fear, with anxiety, with physical symptoms, such as a heartbeat so hard that I could feel it in my toes, in my back, and my eyeballs were shaking with every heartbeat. And I was so afraid of what was happening to my body. Sometimes, some evenings alone, I was just paralyzed in the couch. I didn't dare to get up because I was also dizzy, and I was worried that if I did anything to strain my body any further, what if I had a heart attack? I had to call friends and family and tell them I am afraid of what's going on. Can you just stay with me on the phone for a while? And I've even had periods of, I don't know what you call this in English, but when you have diabetes and your blood sugar drops too low, so your body has a reaction to keep you alive. So you start sweating and you start trembling, and a lot of adrenaline just pumps into your bloodstream to kind of keep you awake. And that happened time and time and time again. And the doctor told me it was reactive hypoglycemia. Sorry, I have not done my research on how you pronounce this in English, but it's when the blood sugar just falls so suddenly and your body reacts to that. So no diabetes. I have low blood sugar, not high blood sugar. And what I have come to learn now, lately, is that when you are feeling so much stress and anxiety, and the body or nervous system is just stuck in this fight or flight response, you are spending so much energy all of the time, even when you are standing still. Of course, my energy was being used faster than I could refill by tending to my blood sugar by eating. So all of these super scary external or internal, but felt like external happenings that made me go see a doctor, that made me stay at home, afraid to go outside, afraid to experience this. I started eating every hour and controlling all of these things. And then I noticed, oh, isn't this maybe the same stuff you have been doing most of your life, trying to control your life, and then that makes you stressed out again? And then I started questioning, Why is all of this happening to me now, once I have finally allowed something good for myself to happen? Once I finally allow myself, my body, to rest, why am I going through such a hard time? But this inner voice, this gut feeling too, immediately came to me and said, this is not happening to you. It is happening for you, because you have allowed your system of body, mind, and spirit to actually let come to the surface what it has been carrying, and to let it go, to shed it, to release it. So this very scary, very physical bodily reaction and response you are going through these days, it's not something you need to worry about. It is not something happening to you. It is happening for you, as in you are releasing years and years and years of fear, of worry, of situations where you forced your body to be there when it felt unsafe. And now your body is finally just letting go of that by physically almost shaking it out, because you have provided this safe space, this time, and this allowance for it to finally do that. So once I listened to that gut feeling and that inner voice, I learned to just sit with these very uncomfortable emotions and physical sensations, not trying to fight them, not trying to fix them, not worrying about them, but actually trusting that this is happening for me. This is me letting go of years and years and years of gunk, of negative beliefs, of fears, of me pushing through when I should have rested. Just let it happen, and you will come out of this feeling so much better. And I do feel much better now. Not by fixing anything, but just by trusting this process, just by trusting my body for once, trusting that my body knows how to heal itself, how to fix itself, how to restore balance in my nervous system. The only work I intellectually need to do is to get out of my body's way, to just allow whatever comes to come without analyzing it, without trying to fix it. And so I have been doing that. And I am not at all finished with all of this yet. Some of it is still happening from time to time, but I feel much easier and I'm not afraid anymore. I have regained trust in my body, and my body, most importantly, my body is regaining trust in me. And the funny thing is, I thought I came on YouTube here to be this mindset coach because I have been achieving so many great things with my mind. So this is not me going against any of that. This is just the next natural chapter where I learn that the mind is not enough. If I want to live an authentic, whole, fulfilled life, I need to truly make mind, body, and spirit be along for the ride. All of the parts of me get to be along for the ride, not just the mind. because the mind can do great things up until a certain point. And that's the point where I reached now, where my body said, do not forget about me anymore. I need to join you in this living the best life possible. So what's funny about it is me thinking I came on YouTube to be this mindset coach, and now everything has changed. What I now see that I am here to do is not to coach you in something that I already know. It is to bring you along on a journey of me learning who I am, who I truly am, and then finding ways to dare, to be brave enough, to be true to myself in ways that I never have before. So I am here to inspire you to get to know yourself and to stay true to yourself, even when it feels uncomfortable or scary, or we get this fear of rejection, we get this fear of being embarrassed, of not fitting into our surroundings. But there comes a time when we just feel like the only thing left to do, the only thing we want to do, the only thing that feels right to do is to be our authentic, true selves, unapologetically. Because it's the only thing that will feel good to us, right? If you really feel like the only thing holding you back from getting what you want, or the only thing that is missing in your self-growth life is you actually 100% being true to yourself, living your authentic life, getting to know your values, what's important to you, what truly matters to you, and also shedding all of the layers that you have put on yourself, walking through life thinking you want the same as everyone else around you, but maybe you don't. Maybe that's not important to you. Maybe you have been chasing the wrong things. Maybe you have been setting goals that is not really yours to reach because they won't feel as good to you, because they are not aligned with your true inner authentic self. Then welcome. Join me. I have no clue how this will go. I don't have a plan. I don't have a schedule. And that is so weird for someone who is used to plan and schedule everything. But also it's so important because this is allowing my body, my mind, and my spirit to speak to me in a way I've never allowed before. And I am so tired of holding myself back from the things that I really want to do, or how I want to act, or what I want to say, because it doesn't fit into my surroundings. I don't want to fit into my surroundings anymore. I want to be me. Why are we so afraid to be who we are? I was obviously so afraid to be myself that I didn't even realize that I wasn't being myself, because I have never truly gotten to know myself. So I don't know how this will go, where this will be going, in which ways I will be doing it. But I'm here for it. And I will try to leave some value that you can practically use for yourself as well, and not just talk about me. I'm sorry, this was a long chat about myself, but I just needed to start somewhere, you know? And the thing that I am doing these days, a practical step towards this, but not making it into a homework because that would be draining me, but just reflecting whenever I feel like it, is that I write down things I do or say that feels like me, and things I do or say that doesn't feel like me in my everyday life. That is how I need to start to truly find what my authentic self wants. Because I have been doing a lot of things to reach goals that I thought I wanted, but when I truly look at it, I didn't feel as good as I thought I would feel by doing it. And then these other things that I used to think was cringy or embarrassing, those are the things that really makes me feel good. And that's how I can tell. If it makes me feel good, then it feels like me. If it doesn't make me feel good, it doesn't feel like me. So that's what I am doing now. What I am reflecting on before I go to bed. What did I do today that didn't feel like the true me? And what did I do that felt like me? And I can just start by sharing a very surprising, weird thing that I obviously want to do but have never thought about before. Actually, on Christmas Eve last year, I needed to go for a walk before all of the people were coming to our house to have this holiday gathering. And I knew that I could go through this cemetery to get into a forest. And when I came through the cemetery, it was about noon, and a lot of people were dressed up and coming to visit their relatives on their graves to wish them a Merry Christmas before moving on to their holiday gatherings. And I thought it was so beautiful. And I actually loved the vibe of staying there. And I looked around and I saw some older people. This really makes me emotional. I saw these old people had been putting on their best outfit, and they were there all alone, probably to say hi to their late spouses or relatives, and they were all alone, and I don't even know if they had anywhere to go after that. And I was so touched by that, and I just had this, I envisioned myself sitting there on a bench on Christmas Eve with a warm blanket and a can of hot coffee and tea next to me, and a sign that said, "Free coffee and free talks if you want one." And I imagined myself just being there to provide this space for people coming to visit their lost relatives, feeling maybe a lot of people are having a hard time at Christmas time, right? A lot of people are alone, have lost someone and all of that. And I felt like I have so much to give. I have my presence to give. I have my love to give. I can listen and I can be there. And I want to do that. I want to sit on a bench on Christmas Eve and provide this space of just, even if someone just wants to come and sit quietly beside me, that would be okay. That is one of the ways I want to put myself out there. And that made me feel so good thinking about it. But then these thoughts came in saying, no, you can't do that. That's kind of weird. Wouldn't people find it cringy that you were sitting all alone on the graveyard, on the cemetery? Would people think you were some sort of freak, wondering why you are there? And all of those thoughts came, and I felt horrible with those thoughts. So that was not me. The original response of me sitting there and being there for people, that made me feel good. And that is me. And I would never have known that that is a desire I have. But I do. And I'm hoping I will dare to do that when Christmas Eve comes, if I have the opportunity. And I would encourage you to share with us. What if you truly, truly dig deep and stay true to yourself and be honest to yourself? What kind of thing do you secretly want to do? Do you secretly dream about doing that you haven't dared to think about or dare to do yet, but that feels authentic to yourself? Maybe that's just how we need to start. To dare to look at these little desires that we haven't given any airtime to. And my plan is to just fill up my entire list with all of the things that feels like me. They don't have to be big. One of the things are just when I walk on the street and I look people in the eye and I smile and I say hi. That feels like me. Other times, I don't look anyone in the eye because I don't feel comfy enough. That doesn't feel like me. So even the smallest things. But that will become a map of who I truly am. And from there, I will find the resources, the ways in which I can dare to be myself, to stay true to myself, my authentic self, even if it's embarrassing, or even if it doesn't fit into this box or this vision that I've been building of myself. Maybe it's not about adding more, but shedding more, shedding the illusions of who we think we are, but doesn't really feel like us, and getting to the core of who we always were in some sort of way. Thank you so much for being with me for all of this time. And I'm hoping to see you again as the authentic me.